The most powerful planeswalker in all of Magic the Gathering is an 8-year-old girl. How does that work? Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, and welcome to a video talking about the most powerful planeswalker in all of Magic the Gathering. Now, to be clear, we are not talking about mechanical in-game strength. We are talking about in the actual story, flavor of the world, lore terms of strength. And I do want to qualify that while Wizards of the Coast is stating that Aminatou is the strongest planeswalker so far, I don't feel like that's really earned. That title to me isn't really earned. I mean, she hasn't been around the block like Nicol Bolas or Urza, done a lot in the Magic world. So that part to me is arguable. What is not really arguable is how amazingly cool the concept behind this card is. So let's start out talking about the card. We got Aminatou, the Fate Shifter. 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black, gets you a 3 loyalty planeswalker, +1 ability, draw a card, then put a card from your hand on top of your library, -1 ability, exile another target permanent you own. Now notice it says you own, that will matter in a moment. Then return it to the battlefield under your control. And the -6 ability, choose left or right. Each player gains control of all non-land permanents other than Aminatou, controlled by the next player in the chosen direction. So basically you get to move everybody's board state around. I love this little shift. It's a fun concept. I like the idea of being able to swap states with people. It actually harkens back to me. It makes me think of, from the original Unset, from Unglued, there was a card called Mirror Mirror that showed a chick she's holding a hand mirror, and a version of herself is reaching through the hand mirror, trying to yank herself through the mirror. And that just basically lets you swap everything with your opponent. Life total, hands, all that stuff. This just lets you swap board states, but it lets you do it for an entire game too if you're playing multiplayer. So that's fun mechanically, but that's not what really drew me to the card. Honestly, I didn't even really look at Aminatou originally. The artwork didn't draw me in to begin with. It wasn't eye-catching on the Planeswalker. What actually got me to pay attention to her was the augury card. Aminatou. It's so, I keep screwing it up. Aminatou. There you go. Now I sound like I'm saying Naruto. See, there you go. I knew it too. I knew before I started. I'm like, I'm gonna screw this up. Anyways, Aminatou's augury. The artwork on that kept catching my eye. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to come back and I'm going to take a look at this card at some point. And I did. And the more I looked at it, the more interested I got. So I stepped back and took a look at Aminatou. So that's where we're going to go. We'll look at the augury afterwards. But let's talk about what Aminatou actually represents in terms of story, lore, the character concept. A really, really cool character. Basically, obviously, revolving around changing people's fates, destiny, things like that. Now, this isn't a situation where you have a child who has the ability to see the future, but no ability to do anything about it. We see this in a lot of different fantasy or even other kinds of stories where you have a character who has the ability to see the future, but no ability to shape the future. And in fact, a lot of the times, the actions they undertake attempting to influence the future create the future they foresaw without them knowing it. Now, Aminatou is not like that. She has the ability to actively influence destiny, and as an 8-year-old child, she has no qualms about doing it. What you need to understand is she has an insane amount of power, but she's still just an 8-year-old girl. Developmentally, mentally, she processes things the same way a child does, and children have the very basic way of looking at things. There's not a lot of nuance to it. Now, she can literally change her own destiny as she feels fit. And I don't just mean like, oh, a minor shift here or there. You know, when children are growing up, they say, I'm going to be a firefighter. I'm going to be a doctor when I grow up. I'm going to be a cowboy. Well, when Aminatou makes these decisions, they permanently shift her destiny into that until she chooses to change it again with a child's capricious nature as she shifts from one to another. So it's listed here. Some days she'll grow up to be a singer, other days a powerful wizard, some days a trainer of beautiful beasts, other days a conquering queen, depending on what her child's whimsy happens to be. But this isn't imagination. This is literally a reshaping of her destiny to that path. She has that capability for her and for others. And she uses this, like, because she's a child and she doesn't recognize the full impact that this is going to have, she uses it whenever she feels like it. If she feels like making someone trip over a rock so they'll stumble into a chick, fall in love with them, and they'll end up having a family, she will do that. So it's not like Urza. Urza went out and meticulously crafted bloodlines. Like, he went to different places, picked out bloodlines, nurtured them generation after generation. Aminatou has absolutely no problem with just randomly going, hey, you know what, I'm going to change your fate permanently, and I'm going to change your fate permanently, because she's a child. It's that sort of mentality where it's like, I'm going to help this homeless guy by giving him $5, but not understanding or doing anything about the underlying problem of, like, homelessness in a society. You feel it's like that kind of childlike, I'll deal with the problems directly in front of me and in a very direct and simplified manner, combined with a staggering amount of power. Her ability to define her own fate is so strong that the reason she has her Planeswalker spark at such a young age, normally Planeswalker sparks ignite under times of extreme duress and during adulthood. The documented cases of Planeswalker sparks igniting are pretty much exclusively happening to adults, and almost always when something really awful is happening. Like Urza's spark ignited when he set off the Golgothian Silex blast and leveled Argoth. Like, there was this huge, basically almost nuclear level reaction where it's like, boom, massive explosion, Urza ascends to godhood, Planeswalker spark igniting. Same kind of deal happened with a lot of Planeswalkers. Their sparks ignited under those extreme conditions. But not Aminatou. Aminatou saw her own destiny in the future that her spark would ignite and decided she just didn't want to wait for that. So now she inhabits her Planeswalker spark already. She can do what she wants, travel around. She has the power of a Planeswalker to bind and summon creatures, and it's used in a very kind of bizarre and childlike way that ties into the black mana aspect of it, the very self-serving, not caring as much about others getting what you want setup. And that is that she hasn't really been seen having her parents around her unless she wants comfort. So basically she summons up her parents to comfort her if she wanted to be, like, tucked into bed, or if she had fallen and scraped her knee, right? And this is a child who, because she can see her destiny, she rarely ever laughs, because most things don't surprise her. She has a knowledge of a lifetime, but only a child's ability to grasp it. And she has the ability to create these ephemeral moths, these basically almost intangible moths that you can physically see. They're not quite illusions. They both exist and don't exist at the same time. And whatever they touch, like whatever she touches with them, is changed in the world. And this can be a minor nudge or a major shift depending on what her whims are. Now this is cool. Like it's kind of like a nod to the butterfly effect, right? The butterfly effect is that concept of, a butterfly could flap its tiny, tiny little wings over on the other side of the planet, and that could cause great weather effects on the other side of the planet because of however it affects weather patterns and all. Like, small changes can cause big effects. Don't mess with the past, because you could crazily alter the future. That's what the butterfly effect is. So this is the moth effect with Aminatou. So I like it. It's a nod to the butterfly effect. When you look at the artwork, like when you actually look at a bigger blown up version of the artwork and pay attention to what it is, it's really, really cool. I really enjoy the way that she looks. Like, I pictured this when I looked at this artwork. I started to picture a scenario. Like, first of all, look at the area that she's in. She's in kind of like it's like a swampy, it could be like a swampy and almost like how tundras are like white blue, like a melted tundra / swamp environment that gives you the blue. This is definitely at least a blue-black aligned land right here. Very swampy, but it does have those nice little flowers popping up out of the ground. You can't see all that in the Planeswalker card itself, but when we look at the full art, you can see it better. She's in this rough, homespun, like African style dress, which I really enjoy. If you look at the embroidering and things like that, the patterns, you can tell that it's intentionally meant to be like rough, homespun, sort of created at home. I love the crazy shirt chest wrap with the crazy, I don't know what you even call these weird shoulder pieces, but it's very striking. And then she's got this fishnet thing going on in her head with the 4 rings that weight it down and keep it on her head. So she looks very, very interesting, and she has this incredibly serious look on her face. She's a serious individual. And she's very calm too. Like this is not somebody who reacts to things because she already knows what's going to happen, so it's not surprising. Now, when I pictured this originally, I thought, imagine walking through like this swampy kind of area on the plane that she exists on, and all of a sudden you just start to see all these moths. All like, where are these moths coming from, right? You see all these moths, and then out there in the water. And actually, you know what? This is another point that ties into the whole childlike nature of her. Is she's got that stick for a wand, and it's completely unadorned. But the fact that she's standing there in the water. Do you guys remember what it was like to be a kid, and for your comfort and concern for your garments and things like that to not be even like a slight consideration for you? I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, I can remember doing stuff that to me now would be horrifying. It's basically I would go and sit in the gutter. Like, it would be raining, right? And after it would rain, you're sitting in the summer heat, and it's just like a dirty puddle. It's just a big, long, dirty puddle on the side of the road. And I would just go and sit in it. Just sit in it. No problems. Now I'd be like, oh my God, that's so gross. As soon as I stood up, I'd be like, I have to go home and change. I need to shower. This is so uncomfortable. But kids don't think like that. And you can see it. She's standing in a bog, like in a swampy kind of whatever, perfectly serene here. So I picture this as a scenario where you wander into the swamp, you see all these moths flying around, you're like, what's going on, right? And then you see, hey, wait a minute, is that a kid out there? And you call out to this girl and you figure, okay, she's out in the swamp because of these moths, like she's wondering what's going on too, but it's dangerous out here. And so you call out to her because you want to make sure she's safe. You don't see her parents around anywhere. You call out to her, and she turns around, and she's just got this incredibly serious look on her face and this white skull paint on her forehead, and she's just got this regal posture, incredibly serious eyes that know way too much, and then right in front of you, she just lifts her hand, and one of those moths materialize. And then you're just like, oh my, like, okay, the thing that I was worried about might be her. And that's the point where you might actually take an involuntary step back. She's genuinely intimidating. Honestly, it's incredible. This artwork is incredible. I love it. And it's contrasted very, very well with Aminatou's augury, which is great. This little 8-year-old, this artwork here, this is beautiful. So let's talk about this card here. It's 8 mana, 2 blue, 6 colorless. Exile the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a land card from you may put a land card from amongst them onto the battlefield. Until the end of turn, for each non-land card type, you may cast a card of that type from among the exiled cards without paying its mana cost. So basically, you get to take the top 8 cards of your deck, and you can play any number of them as long as each one's a different type. Like, you can play an artifact, an enchantment, all those, until you've played all 8 different types, or played a land and 7 different types, whatever combo you want based off what you got off the top of your deck. I mean, more than likely you're going to hit more than one land, and it'd be hard to hit the full 8, but you want to live the dream. Either way, the artwork on this is absolutely lovely. You don't see Magic artwork like this frequently. It's just a tiny little girl holding a little stick. Like, this is the most powerful planeswalker in existence. And she's just this delicate, fragile little thing. And the contrast of that, and even like the like this, they got the little net in her hair is just kind of like flowing back. She's leaning forwards and like blowing these moths out into existence. Now there's 8 moths to represent the 8 different cards, and I love when they do this, man. They did this with Sift. There's an artwork with Sift where there are 3 different heads, and you can see there, and it perfectly represents exactly what's going on in the artwork in terms of 3 and 1, and this is 8. And it totally ties into the theme of Aminatou with the 8. You've got 8 butterflies. The casting cost is 8. You exile the top 8 cards. She's 8 years old. I genuinely enjoy how that all ties together. I really enjoy, too, how just fragile everything in this artwork looks like. This is the most powerful planeswalker in existence who can alter your fate like that if she so chooses. But in this artwork, it looks like you could just walk in and bash everything apart. No problem. You could just walk in and snap that. You could break everything in this picture. But nope. This is actually an incredible amount of power. And every single one of those moths will just fly out. And they literally turn into things. Like, imagine that. She goes like this, and these moths fly out. One lands, boom. Now there's a lake there. There's a source of blue mana. Another one lands, there's a crazy snarling beast. One descends, one little, like, alights on somebody, and all of a sudden a sickening plague just spreads through them. And she just stands there impassively with that knowing look in her eye. I absolutely adore the flavor behind this card. I don't feel like the title of most powerful Planeswalker is earned in this case. They're just saying it. I prefer demonstrate over stating. We'll see if they do anything with it in the future. However, the flavor behind this is absolutely amazing. So, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.
Let's see, what do we have here? Oh, our good friend Muldrotha. And we got all our little goodies here. Look at all of that. Keep you little guys over here. Oh, it's not worth much. Oh, it's kind of neat. There's gotta be something in here. Maybe somewhere. I don't know. It's kind of... Oh, that's interesting, but... Oh, what is... Ah. Well, hello, friend. Let's see what we can do with you. We're not going to need that anymore. Oh, extra protection. Now, girlie, you're going out on the town. Wow, look at that. Beautiful. Isn't that just wonderful? Oh, what do we have here, though? Oh. Oh, hello, friends. Oh. Yeah. Oh. It wants to live. Unfortunately, friend, you have to die. Yes. Too bad. So sad. And remember, kids, together we are the sixth color of magic.